New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Well, good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. This is another fun-filled, thrill-packed edition of the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus, and I am broadcasting from the secret radio room that only Diego, myself, and the Reverend Dr. Charlotte Manning, they know where it's at. Everybody else, they're still guessing. All right. We have a wonderful show for you this evening. Again, please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments below here on Facebook. And again, if you don't want to use the chat, that's okay. All you need to do is send me an email. Would love to talk to you. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. As I say weekly, and I think I need to repeat it because, again, we get new viewers every week. The purpose of the Fireside Chat is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying week after week, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on around us, not only in the United States, but also globally. All right. Diego got reminded from the legal department that I am supposed to read this. The views and opinions expressed by the host and his guests are their own. They do not represent the views and opinions necessarily of the New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Robert, Diego, his beautiful wife, Mercedes, or Winston, Diego's pet pig, or anyone else living or dead. And as they say in the 12-step recovery program, take what you like and leave the rest. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. So before we get into this week's news, I would like to comment on some Facebook comments from last week. And as I keep telling you week after week, this is an interactive show. So don't be surprised if I share some comments from the previous week. Let me share what this gentleman wrote. And again, this is all done in love here. His first message to us was a bunch of question marks. Okay. So this is his view. He says, this movement is so divisive now and hijacked by the far leftists to promote their agenda of victimism and divide. Listen to the teachers of New Thought prior to 2000. They never allowed this non-truth. Now, I did respond to him, but again, my response will be in my comments here in just a few moments. So I wrote him back, and then I said, he wrote me back. He said, thanks for the offer. I spent my first 30 years plus in religious science churches. I left with the tens of thousands who left the movement in the 90s. I did not know that there was a kind of exodus. Like all of those who left, we now watch or attend progressive Christian churches that actually teach mind science and use spiritual psychology that the centers or churches once did. Well, if you go on the website, summitcsl.org, and you listen this Sunday, you'll hear a lot of fundamentalist Ernest Holmes. You're always invited to attend our service that way. He goes on, he says, my family lived the history of the movement. My grandmother knew Ernest and many of the teachers in the LA area. My mother spent her lunches with Bill Hornaday at Founders Church of Religious Science. I attended the New Thought megachurches in Southern California and also across America that no longer exist. I see that you are fairly new to New Thought. Okay, so let's clear that up right here. I've been in New Thought now for 40 plus years, and I'm soon to be a graduate of Holmes Institute. So I've been in this a long time. I would show you my library. I have so many books here. It's unbelievable. So let me go on. He said, I suggest you research how the movement grew so much during the Depression, World Wars, and through the 60s. Never did the movement or teaching ever focus on the period of challenge or social agenda. They stayed to the principles of divine mind and law. Have you ever heard of Reverend Ike, or Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, of course, who had the black mega churches? Listen to what they taught during the 60s. Race was never given attention. Listen to Ayanna Van Zandt or Derek Wells. Reverend Wells is someone I've met before. He's the primary minister at Christ Universal Temple in Chicago, Illinois, who are well-known black teachers today of New Thought, but they don't touch the race card as you have. Interesting. So thank you for the correspondence here. I don't even know if he's watching tonight, but that's okay. I'm going to agree with you here. From what I understand, Dr. Coleman, Reverend Ike, and other African-American truth teachers did not touch the so-called race card that you call it. And let me share with you why. Again, this is my own viewpoint. It's because they discovered by teaching these universal principles that work for everyone, individuals were able to lift themselves up no matter their race, creed, or gender. Because they're principles. They always work. The challenge here to my Facebook friend is that it did not affect society as a whole. Many individuals teach our principles within the African American community of goal setting, positive thinking, and also visualization. So what we're doing now here in New Thought is we're given the opportunity to help the whole planet eradicate this thought of racism. To affect real societal change involves this. If you've studied any of the nonviolent movements of social change, it involves the offending behaviors to be called out into the light of day. And again, like the suffragette movement and the women's movement, which was the focus of Emma Curtis Hopkins in the late 1800s, or the workers' movement with Wallace Wattles. Look at our history of New Thought. The gentleman says, well, you need to look at the history. Well, I have, and I continue to do so. The challenge that I see is this. we as a movement have lost that spirit that our pioneers had of treating and moving our feet. So let's understand that any mass social change involves bringing the sins or the behaviors to light and asking individuals if there is a better way of doing this. Civil rights movement, the freedom movement in India, led by Gandhi, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, many other social issues. How did they change? They changed by bringing it to light and also bearing social pressure upon everyone. The politicalization of moral, ethical, and spiritual issues over the past 50 years has been massive. So now we're divided into camps. If I believe this way, then I'm a leftist. If I believe in another way, then I'm right wing. If I believe in the sky gods, then I'm up. If I believe in the earth gods, then I'm down. Okay? We, the leadership here in New Thought, are now asking ourselves this question. Can we have a new thought around social issues? And I think that we have a good base to do that, again, based upon our founding pioneers. We have made massive changes within our organization of Centers for Spiritual Living with our Diversity and Inclusion Committee. We as religious scientists have had our share of racism within our communities that are now being brought to light and healed. So like I've said in previous shows, for me as a spiritual leader, not to have a comment or two about what is going on in the world is, in my mind, is spiritual malpractice. New Thought has always been a liberation theology. Look at the amount of women, African Americans, and LGBTQ people that we have in the pulpits. So the letter I read from Dr. Edward last week is asking all of us, including my Facebook friend and myself, to examine our consciousness and to eliminate any racism or violence from our own hearts. And again, many people in New Thought were taught to, in the past, just bury their feelings, ignore them, or act them out in inappropriate ways. Bearing it. Acting out of their shadow, as Carl Jung said. So my question to my Facebook friend very lovingly is this. What bothers you about the mention of racism now? What would cause you to accuse me of using the race card? Now, that's a good question to ask oneself, and I'm asking you to do that. Yours truly has spent many years in the 90s at African American religious science churches. It took a graduate level course in diversity to have me conclude that I have privilege because of my white skin. I'm pointing towards my hand, but I'm also pointing towards my skin color too. Let's understand that everyone is not treated the same because of the color of their skin. And again, for years, I believed that everyone was on an equal playing field. So the result has been systematic racism that has been in this country for years. There's been many studies out there that show inequalities in employment, the purchasing of a home or car at an increased interest rate and more money, and also in the areas of education. And this inequality also showed up in 2020 with the murder of Black men and women at the hands of mostly white police officers. Things must change here. And again, please don't send me letters that I am against the police, because I know many police officers. I am pro-police. It's just some of the behavior is appalling, and we need to call it out. We saw on January 6th the inequalities of policing the Capitol. And again, during the Black Lives Matter marches, there were 3 to 4 times the police and National Guard presence there. To my friend, I saw your profile picture, and I'm going to guess, because of your profile picture, that you and I have light-colored skin. My question to you is this: how often do you think about race? You probably don't think about it. Now, ask that to a black or brown person or an Asian individual. They will probably tell you the answer. They think about it daily. And also that you and I probably, again, if you have children, that you've never had the talk with your kids. In the African American community, at a certain time, young men, young ladies were sat down and said, listen, more than likely you're going to be pulled over by the police. During that time, again, please cooperate. If you've done anything, do not resist arrest. We'll fight it out in court. We don't want you in a body bag. See, we don't have to have those kind of conversations in the white community. So our speaking up and speaking out is about societal change, not giving more energy to the outer effects. We're being asked here by Dr. Edwards, CSL, and also other New Thought organizations to examine our own hearts, to root out any racism or hatred within us. We are being challenged by our current leadership to speak up and to speak out for our brothers and sisters who are challenged by their race, gender, or sexual orientation. Just to let you know that I am going to be marching in Pride this year. Not because I'm LGBTQ, but because that, again, that I am there to support and love my brothers and sisters. That's treating and moving our feet here. That is creating a world that does work for everyone. And again, to my friend on Facebook, again, you are not the only one bothered by the speaking up and out about social issues at our centers. What we're all encouraged here to do is to have conversations about these issues. Again, I have been called out over the years by some of my racial prejudices and have had an opportunity to heal. And again, I could have only done that in spiritual community. So one final parting thought here to my friend. If all that New Thought is for you is mind science, I'm going to suggest something. You have missed a big part of our teaching, which is mysticism, or a personal relationship with the creator of the universe. It is when I feel my oneness with the one, including you, that I can have compassion and see that for the world to heal, that I must heal. So again, to my friend, thank you so very much for the conversation. My email is pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com if you would like to continue the discussion. Gosh, I used up 20 minutes already. Well, that's okay, because if you wonder what you stumbled onto tonight, if you were kind of going through Facebook and going, well, I wonder what's on the New Thought Media Network. Well, you got me. I'm Pastor Michael Mangus, and this is the Friday evening Fireside Chat. Our guest this evening, after I'm done talking, will be the world famous and ever popular Diego Reyes, who will be talking about Spirit Says Sing, his wonderful new program on Saturday evenings here on the New Thought Media Network. So we'll be talking to him after a few more news articles. In the news this week, COVID-19 is still here. Again, from the CDC, and one of the things I've noticed about the change in administrations is that they get the numbers to us a lot earlier than before. Total number of cases since the beginning of the year, 24,512,618 cases. That is 188,772 new cases just from yesterday. Cases in the last 7 days, 1,318,920. And our total number of deaths, including my mother, 408,697. We are averaging 4,000 new deaths every single day. And as I heard on the news from President Biden, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. So let's understand that. What you need to know from CNN: President Biden signed a slew of executive orders to tackle coronavirus on his first full day in office, ramping up vaccinations, expanding testing, and a reopening of schools. Dr. Anthony Fauci said that the U.S. can and should vaccinate up to 85% of the adults by the end of the summer. Again, that's if supplies of the vaccine are ramped up. Japan has denied a report that the Tokyo Olympics would be canceled due to the pandemic. And also the UK is considering a full closure of its borders to contain the spread of COVID-19 variants, a government minister said. Also in the news, 19 Capitol police officers test positive for COVID-19 after the January 6th riot. Also from CNN, it says 19 police officers have tested positive for coronavirus 2 weeks after the Capitol riot. The union representing the Capitol Police said on Friday. Again, the chair of the United States Capitol Police Labor Committee said in an email to CNN that the union was advised that there are 19 confirmed positive cases since January 6th. The union could not confirm that all 19 were on duty the day of the attack. However, health officials have also worried that the mass of largely unmasked people, mainly shouting and pushing, would result in the spread of the virus. And several police officers were directly assaulted. I do think that you have to anticipate that this is another surge event. You had largely unmasked individuals in a non-distance fashion who all went through the Capitol. And this is from the former U.S. CDC and Prevention Director, Dr. Robert Redfield. He said in a previous interview with the McClatchy newspaper group, at least 4 members of Congress have also tested positive for coronavirus after the attack earlier this month. Both parties must be masked. Let's understand this for it to work. Again, what you're wearing is a non-medical mask, unless you get, again, the N95 masks or the other masks that are out there. So both parties must be masked for it to work. So, again, I mention all of this again with much love because we are not victims in this here. We're not victims. As I said from the CNN article from last week, the spread of the virus depends highly on our behavior, Not if or when we get the vaccine, that will help. But even when we get the vaccine, we're still being advised to do these things. So please, for God's sakes, wear a mask. Watch your distance. Wash your hands. Crack open a window. And if people are coming into your bubble, insist that they wear a mask and please practice social distancing. More importantly than this, I'm adding a W this week. Watch your thinking. We talked about last week about COVID fatigue, about people just saying, oh, the heck with it all. That's not the attitude that's going to get you through this here. Let's understand that. We will all get through this. We need to see the light at the end of the tunnel, even though that it's dim. And one more thing here, please study the science before deciding not to get the vaccine. I've heard many of my friends say, well, I'm not getting it. Okay. But please study the science before you make that kind of decision. As for me and my house, we will get vaccinated because through the science, we have seen that it is safe and highly effective. All right. And again, welcome. You're watching and listening to the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus, and in just a few moments, the most underpaid host here at the New Thought Media Network, that is my producer, Diego Reyes, who will be explaining about his wonderful show on Saturday nights called Spirit Says Sing. So we'll be talking to him in just a few moments. We have a new president and vice president. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris was sworn in at the U.S. Capitol. Harris made history as the first female, the first Black, and also the first South Asian vice president. Biden signed his first executive orders, including action to impose a mask mandate on federal property and also to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. So who stole the show on Wednesday besides Lady Gaga and also Senator Bernie Sanders' big mittens? Who's all over the internet. The person who I believe stole the show was our youth poet laureate, Amanda Gorman. Just give me a second here before you play it here. This is from CNN. She says, words matter. Amanda Gorman, the first ever youth poet laureate from the United States who recited a poem at the inauguration of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, said that the purpose of her poetry was not only to provide hope, but also to show the power of words. To me, words matter. And I think that's the kind that made this inauguration that much more sentimental and special, Ms. Gorman said. She continued, she said, we have seen over the past few years the way in which the power of words have been violated and misappropriated. And what I wanted to do was to reclaim poetry at that site in which we can repurify, resanctify not only the Capitol building that we saw violated, but also the power of words and invest that kind of into the highest office of the land. So Gorman talked about the importance of rebuilding and recovering in her poem that we're going to replay right now at the inauguration, The Hill We Climb.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just is isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Wasn't that wonderful? That's from the United States' first ever Youth Poet Laureate, Miss Amanda Gorman. I was going to read it, but I thought she did a better job. Well, hi there. Good evening. You are watching the New Thought Media Network and the Friday Evening Fireside Chat. I am Pastor Michael Mangus. Let me read a few announcements here, and then we'll talk to Diego. Yours truly is currently parking himself at the Summit CSL. For more information, please go to summitcsl.org. There you will find wonderful information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. So please grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, and please join us. I really believe that we have one of the best services out there in New Thought because it has the right combination of teaching, has the right combination of meditation, right combination of silence. And I think that all of those combined together really help one to have a spiritual experience. So please join us on Sunday mornings. Again, more information is available at summitcsl.org. This Sunday, we will have a talk on how to use it. That's taken from the introduction to the Science Mind text, and that will be done by yours truly, Pastor Michael. And if you go on our Facebook page, the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron, you will see one of the things I did before getting ill, and that's a virtual log burning, which came out very well. And so as my assistant Hannah and I figure out how to do StreamYard, we're working on that. We'll have more original programming coming from Summit CSL. Yours truly is open for practitioner sessions. Also Sunday speaking. I can speak anywhere using this wonderful camera, and also that we do wonderful ceremonies. So please contact us if you're interested. And also, if you're watching the show, please just send me a note and say hi. Michael, I'm just watching the show and just appreciate it, or I don't. That's okay. Email me at pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com for more information. Lots of things happening here at the New Thought Media Network. Again, I usually have several pages. We have all kinds of wonderful things that, again, are here to support and love you. Not only, again, here in the United States, but around the world. On Mondays, we have Monday morning visioning at 7 a.m. At 11 a.m. Mountain, we have cosmic prayer. Live from the UK with, the very pretty and talented Laura Topper. Tuesdays, we have the Mystical Writers Hangout at 7 a.m. Mountain. Also, Treasures from the Tao with Reverend Jody. New Thought Today with Reverend Z and also Reverend Robert. That's at 2 p.m. Mountain. We have morning prayers every day at 8:15. These times are Mountain Time with the prayer team. Wednesday nights, we have probably one of the best midweek meditations and services you can find. That's with Reverend Robert, and that's at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Brand new program here on New Thought Media Network, the Daily Sip of Spirit in Action with Reverend Melissa. That's at 8:30 a.m. On Wednesdays, we have Living Life with Joy, again with Reverend Melissa at 10 a.m. Feeling the Flow with Terry Paul Choice. That's on New Thought Media Network. Also, we have, again, the Wednesday evening pick-me-up. That's at 6 p.m. Mountain. Evening prayers every day. Jersey Girl Wisdom with Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadley. That's at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Ministers Talking Stuff podcast. You have to understand that I grew up and I was raised in and was taught radio that you should never say the 7 dirty words. So that's just me. All right. So they have a wonderful podcast at 7 a.m. Collective meditation on Friday for Peace, the Heart of Peace meditation. That's at 9 a.m. Mountain. Fireside chats with yours truly on 6 p.m. Mountain time. The Camille Conti show is absolutely wonderful. It's rock and roll with real conversations. That's again on newthoughtmedianetwork.org. Saturdays are really wonderful here. We have the Science of Mind and Spirit lecture series with different ministers and also practitioners teaching from the Science of Mind textbook. That's at 9 a.m. Mountain time. And also Feel the Flow rebroadcast. That's at 10:30 a.m. with Terry Paul Choice at newthoughtmedia.org. The one show I did mention, which we'll talk to Diego here in a minute, is Spirit Says Sing, which he still does not have on the schedule. Diego, we're going to have to get on Reverend Robert about that. But we have all kinds of wonderful things here, wonderful programs. Please get on our weekly newsletter, which is always there on Mondays. Joys in the Journey with practitioner Gina. She's coming up here at on Thursdays. How wonderful. We have all kinds of new programming here. And if you've been blessed by any of the things that we have done here, we ask for your loving financial support. We do have wonderful premiums. If you take a look at newthoughtmedia.org, you'll see the premiums that we do have. But the best premium is this. You get to take this powerful message and ministry to the whole world. Your contribution is used lovingly to take this powerful message around the world. For some people, we are the only New Thought Center that they will ever have contact with. So I ask for lovingly your help here. Again, please help us at newthoughtmedianetwork.org/donate. Your contributions are used lovingly, mindfully, thoughtfully to take this message to the whole planet. We are working on getting new software for the wonderful radio stream, New Thought Radio. We're also working on our affiliate program too. If your center would like more information on that, again, please contact us at newthoughtmedia.org. But we have all kinds of ways, again, that you can be involved to help us. So again, please do that. All right. All right. So let's introduce now the Karaoke King.
Oh, no.
Yes, he is the Karaoke King. That is my producer, Diego Reyes, who also has a new show called Spirit Says Sing on Saturday evenings here at the New Thought Media Network. Good evening, Diego.
Good evening, Pastor Michael. Yeah, a lot of fun we have on Saturday nights.
Well, tell us about the show and tell us some of the things that you're going to be doing here.
Well, really, Spirit Says Sing is really my idea of how to give everybody a platform to shine their gift, to support their family here at ntmedia.org with your light. I invite, what I'm planning on having, the reason why we don't have a lot of promos and everything set up is because I'm in still a development stage, and I'm every week I'm adding new little things and figuring out little procedures of how to go about things. I think this week I want to try to add a prayer into it. One thing I feel that I'm missing in a NT media show is prayer. We're some praying people around here. We got to get some mind treatment in there, I think, right in the beginning. So we're just adding little things here and there. It's still kind of developing, but it's really pretty much an open mic. I open up the studio to everybody that's watching out there, or to any of the destinations that we broadcast to. I set a link in the comments that brings you right back here backstage in the studio where we're at right now. Of course, each broadcast, since StreamYard is an online broadcasting studio, every episode is a different link. So people have to pay attention to what the posts are, and I post the current link of what that evening studio is, invite people to come on. If they play an instrument, we love musicians. If they want to sing a song, they're more than welcome to sing a cappella, or my gift, what I like to bring to the shows. I've been a karaoke host for years, and we were talking about it earlier, back since we used to have to load the laser discs individually per song.
Listen, and then I had to return the equipment back to the karaoke people. Now, we had some nice, let me tell you something, with those laser discs, we worked for a subsidiary of Rent-A-Center called R.Sc.P Entertainment. So we, with those wonderful laser discs, we had to return those then weekly.
Oh, wow.
So that was, but I was telling you, again, I love to sing, but I was telling you that the one thing that I would do when I was working the bars was that I would go ahead and I would just start singing anything in the catalog so that I could get requests for people to go ahead and to come up to sing.
Interesting tactic.
Right.
Also works. The bar owners probably liked it a lot right around last call. If they have, okay, go ahead, Michael, start singing.
Oh,
Time to get everybody out.
Yeah, get out of here. Oh, those were the days, and I really enjoyed my time with that. But again, I just it's wonderful to sing, and as I told you before, I usually sing solo that no one hears me.
Well, and it's not all about singing. I'm inviting people. We haven't had any poets on yet. I'd love to have some poetry, especially after this great poem, which I'm glad we shared that for your show, because I think that was the peak of the inauguration for me too. Was Amanda's poem was just so beautiful. Even just listening to it again right there as we were rebroadcasting, I feel a little tear coming to my eye. Oh, we can do it, yeah. It's just so inspirational. So I invite poets. Comedian is another thing that I'd love to have some like spiritual everything I'm trying to keep spiritually leaning, because this is a family network. So I often tell people, if you want to share something with us, please make it something that you would be embarrassed sharing with your child or your grandparent, because they might be watching.
See, and that's why, again, I grew up with FCC rules that say you can't say certain things on the radio.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the reason I don't say, again, ministers talking stuff.
Exactly.
Because again, I've been trained.
As your producer, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Less work for me. I don't have to work the beeps.
Do we have those yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I say that, but I don't have.
Yeah, we're working.
I need those and an applause track. A lot of times I feel any comments that any of the show hosts make. I wish I could have put an applause behind that. You have one of those. I heard that earlier. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's one of my hot buttons on my roadcast.
I need a board like that, like you have there.
Yeah. Well, again. New Thought Media Network.
Please donate
for goodness sakes. I've already talked to Robert about getting a brand new audio board so that I can do more of the radio streams. So I said, Robert, we were applying for grants a few weeks ago, and it's really interesting. I said, Robert, let me put in my, the audio board I picked was around $1,400, which is pretty inexpensive for a broadcast board. And he said, "Not this time."
Next time.
Oh, you know what? I really love.
As Rev Robert has really been getting New Thought Media started on a shoe. It's cliche, but on a shoestring. He's really not been using much finances to really get this all started, and now it's really becoming successful and growing and thriving, and we're having more shows come on, and all the equipment that we started using this for with free software, we're starting to get to the size of, oh, we can't do this free anymore. We need to invest in some stuff to really keep this going. So,
and that's one of the reasons why, again, for the we're on 365 for the New Thought Radio. I've been talking to Robert about this. Hopefully, after credentialing in the fall, that I can start working on us getting on a regular radio stream where any one of us can go ahead. If, let's say, for example, that the radio stream is hung up, which I've heard on 365, that any one of us can go into our phone, punch in our code, and then go ahead and fix it. So we don't have those capabilities right now. But again, I think that we have a lot of things that we want to do here. And again, please see, and that's one of the reasons why we are lovingly asking your donations. Believe me, every time we spend $1 here, we always ask, how will it benefit our audience?
Exactly.
How
can we make it easier for them to tune in and get upliftment?
Yeah, and that the other thing too is I want to mention here, we have a few more minutes, but I want to mention here that we are also looking for volunteer producers, especially with this affiliate program that's coming up. We are going to need to train other people to be able to do shows for other communities. And now is the time that we need to train you. Okay. So,
and that gets right back. That goes right back to Spirit Says Sing. Not many people know this. I've kind of hinted around about it, but that's kind of one of my secret ideas about this show. Is I'm inviting on new co-hosts each week, artists, if they got an album or something to spotlight to come on. What I'm kind of really doing is putting my fishing line out there to see, who can I get to produce some show? Ooh, that co-host was really good that week. Oh, let me see if I can get them on another show. So, yeah, I kind of have some multiple motives for doing Spirit Says Sing. I love karaoke. I love to host a platform where other people can sing and share their gift. That's great for me, but I think this show would help out not just us as an organization, as a network, but I think it would have fun for everybody to grow together with this net. Well, I really want to help make New Thought Media Network our network, a network that we're all growing, that we're participating, we're part of this fake news. If anybody says the term fake news came up into my mind, because there would be no way anybody could say fake news, because this is us. We're the ones that built this.
Yeah. So again, and people will say, well, I don't, I can't do video and all that. Listen, believe me, if Diego and I can do it, you can do it. All right. Now, Diego's a little more skilled because of his media background. But what I'm telling you is that there's ways for you to go ahead and to volunteer on our network.
Oh, yeah.
And again, you can do this remotely.
Many ways to contribute, yes.
Right. So
we'll walk you, all of us here, like I said earlier, this is a family. We'll walk you through everything.
Yeah, see, and again,
Pastor Michael, bless us.
Well, I really appreciate having Diego in the background, because I used to do I used to do everything by myself, and the problem is that it really showed up in the production. So it's really nice to I give great thanks for you, Diego, because it really, again, it frees me up to be able to focus on the show and to focus on the material. So again, if you contact us at newthoughtmedia.org, there is a contact email there. Please contact us. Again, we would really appreciate your donations, but we would also really appreciate you volunteering also. And let me just say this to the ministers and some of the practitioners out there. You can have a show here on New Thought Media Network. We will train you. We'll show you what you need. We will walk, myself, Diego, Reverend Robert, we will walk you through everything here. Okay? So, Diego, thank you very much. Let me do a prayer here, and then we'll get out of here.
I'm blessed. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you. That's Diego Reyes' program called Spirit Says Sing. Tomorrow evening, that's at 6 Mountain Time, 8 Eastern, here on the New Thought Media Network. Let me pray here. This is a prayer for my country. This is written by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Please pray with me. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this a prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activity of all who guide its affairs. I now know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and the divine heritage of everyone in this country, that they are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. And I now know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that personal freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. This all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. And I now know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. Each is impelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I shall know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. And so it is. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel for a wonderful edition. Again, we have all of our shows on ntmedia.org. If you go on our Facebook page, and we're also on New Thought Media on YouTube. So again, please, replay the show. Please share it with other people. All right, time for me to get out of here. From all of us here to all of you, this is Pastor Michael Mangus. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.